gentlemen.
Yo.
Stop.
Hello.
Don't do that.
And welcome to week 4 of the Log Pod. We got a hell of a week for you today. I'm joined by the usual suspects, Josh Caliendo, Dan Ivanhoe, and Nick.
Hey.
Let's go ahead and jump right into today's episode, looking at the week 3 recaps. So let's go ahead and do that right now, I think, if I can figure this out.
Expand.
Yeah. Drag it out. Here we go. All right. So, not a great week. Not a great week for a lot of teams here, unfortunately. We'll start off with the first matchup, which is myself, Omega Sharkus, against Tucker. Never even met her. Quick side story about this. So Katie this morning, friend of the pod, she asked me, she wants to change her fantasy football name. And she was like, hey, yeah, I have Kyler. So I want to do Kyler. Barely know her. And I was like, Catherine, I'm sorry about this. But yeah, I think if you guys know anybody. Anyways, so close matchup here between myself and Josh, which is not great for me. Squeaked out a victory. Like I said, it was a shitty week for everyone, but I'm happy with my performance. I mean, if I don't play the Chargers D, if I play literally any other defense in the league, it's a much bigger win. But yeah, not bad.
I agree. Yeah. Like you said, it was just a weird week of fantasy in general. I mean, we're going to end up looking through all these scores, and it's nothing too pretty. It was just kind of people beating the crap out of each other.
Rosen left 60 points on his bench, so obviously he's never starting Khalil Herbert, obviously. So that one's excusable. Amari Cooper, I don't know. And then Russell Gage with the Bucks wide receiver core being out, I guess it could have been a good spot start. But nonetheless, he drops to 0-3.
Quick side note, you have to feel pretty good about Derrick Henry popping off finally.
Yeah. I mean, I was watching the game. They were specifically drawing up screenplays for him, like specific passing plays to get him the ball.
Yeah, very sneaky 22 points. It didn't seem like he was exploding, but kind of just racked him up through the game went on.
Titans also did absolutely nothing in the second half in that game. So
yeah,
I'm stoked. 2-1. We're getting going, fellas.
Good matchups you got to get past.
All right, next one we got Scott Rusher, which is Josh, versus Mike's Hard. Shout out to getting a concussion and coming back and giving you a couple extra points. I think that was huge.
He came back. I will tell you, he came back in and gave me 3 additional points. Is what it ended up being. He went out at halftime with 8 points, and I was like, well, I guess I'm just getting 8 out of 2 of this week. And then he showed back up and gave me another 3. Really helped get that W for me.
I can't wait to see like how much money of a fine that 3 points is going to get you.
Yeah, we're gonna have to fine you, Josh, for keeping him in the game.
Mike McDaniels actually said today that he is not in concussion protocol. So weird situation all around there. I had mentioned it to you guys just through text that I thought it was a really sketchy situation. I think we were kind of all on the same page there.
I think the question has to be asked, though, is Trevor's team in trouble at this point?
I was just about to say that. I think without DeAndre Swift.
DeAndre Swift is looking like he's going to be running back 2 even when he comes back.
I don't know about all that.
Kyler Murray is that. Jamal Williams is popping off right now.
Yeah, he's great, but doesn't mean he's going to be the starting running back. I wouldn't go that far yet.
He does get a lot of the goal line work, which I think is what Nick is referencing. He is
good.
a lot of touchdowns.
He looks real good.
I think Trevor really needs to go out and get himself more wide receiver depth. That's just my opinion. It's Sterling Shepard is hurt.
Chris Olave is great.
Yeah, I mean,
he's got them in there.
One.
He's gonna be
what? Nick's trying to freaking poach him. That's what that was. Oh, Trevor, if you're listening, I think you need some more receivers.
That's
take backs here, Dan.
That's been Nick's plan from the get-go, man.
The Nick MO.
Said it to me 3 times.
What I was going to say for Trevor, though, is, losing Swift obviously hurts, but you're going to be able to slide Kareem Hunt and Leonard Fournette, and you're going to be able to put in Chris Olave. So I don't see. I think he'll be fine. And Kyle Pitts looks like he's actually involved in the offense in Atlanta now. I think it was just a weird fantasy week for everyone.
Yeah. I'm gonna hold out on Kyle Pitts and see what the Falcons do next week.
Agreed.
Also, to Michael Pittman's detriment, it seems that the Colts were effective when running the ball constantly as opposed to throwing the ball, which they had done the first 2 weeks, which is going to hurt Michael Pittman's value. So,
the number 1 running back in the league.
Michael Pittman was. I mean, he excelled last year with JT also excelling. So I wouldn't say that writes off Michael Pittman, but different offense, but still.
Yeah, I think one of the big things that came out last year was that Carson Wentz was checking out of runs in a lot of plays, which was benefiting Michael Pittman. I'm not sure if Matt Ryan is doing the same, but yeah, he was fantastic last year. He had a good week 1, I believe. So we'll see. I'm talking about the next game, which was a fantastic one. Only 3 people scored over 100 points in the entire league this week. 2 of them being in this game, which is hysterical. So, yeah, it was a rough one. I mean, 40 points from Lamar Jackson. You're always going to lose after that.
Yeah, he single-handedly beat me.
Yeah, I can tell.
I will say, though, this was one of those matchups where I lost, but there were good things that came out of this matchup and this week. My core roster showed that they can score points. I don't know what the hell's going on with Austin Eckler. I have no idea.
Bring that up.
His value keeps on dropping. I'm going to, at this point, just have to hold on to him and just spit on him, basically. But I think I have fantastic wide receivers. And I'm going to run into issues with who to start moving forward. So,
yeah, we all know you think that.
Your receivers are very good.
Very
unbelievable.
This week.
Unbelievable receivers.
Yeah.
I know we like to. I know we all love to shit on Nick, but I do genuinely think Nick has some decent depth at his wide receiver or compared to a lot of the league. Compared to a lot of the league, he's got really good depth.
I would agree with that sentence.
Drake continues to show that his team is beyond deep. I mean, just looking at his bench, even he left Zeke on the bench. He left Curtis Samuel on the bench. Devontae Smith, he was probably never going to start, but he drops 27 points. So, team to look out for.
Very much.
Solid week. Lamar is having an MVP season. So if he continues that, it's game over for the rest.
I was telling Josh earlier, I was like, I think my Jalen Hurts MVP projection is going to be true, but it's going to be blocked by Lamar just having a season of a lifetime again. So, yeah, he's going to be tough to beat in fantasy moving forward.
Gonna give Drake some props too. Tyler Conklin is the number 4 tight end right now in fantasy. So that was just a great gut call by him to pick up Conklin when he did and run him out. I mean, that's looking like a guy who can run out. So, well, depending on what Zach Wilson decides to do when he gets back. But
that struck me hard when Garrett Wilson went out for 2 quarters. They just dished the ball to Conklin every single time. Yeah. That would hurt a little bit, but it was a good matchup. It was well played.
Good matchup. Unfortunate for you, the only 1 and 2 team in the whole league, which is impressive.
Crazy.
Honestly. Yeah. Impressive. Next, we got minus the Brandon Meckham versus God Did Not Save the Queen.
She's still dead, by the way. Just
still dead.
Confirmation.
We're not sure if King Chuck has really checked on her even, so that's kind of fucked up of him. But stinker from Koenig after dropping 130 in weeks 1 and week 2 follows that up with a quick 65.9. Meanwhile, Flag really doesn't have that great of a week, but does enough to secure the W. Joey B finally shows out, as well as Travis Kelce doing Travis Kelce things. So really not the greatest of matchups. Got to keep an eye out on Justin Herbert. He didn't look like himself. Obviously, I guess the Jaguars are the real deal. So something to keep an eye on.
I think for Kenny's team too, it shows that how big of a boomer bust Tyreek Hill can be in certain weeks. If Tyreek Hill doesn't score 25, you could easily see yourself scoring 70 points. So this was one of the Tyreek still is not going to have that many types of weeks. This unfortunately was one of them for Kenny. So
yeah, I mean it's Go ahead, Joe.
No, you're good.
Go ahead. I mean it's fantasy, of course, but like he's got a very boomer bust team. Herbert, Cooper Kupp, Tyreek Hill, AJ Dillon, all those guys are going to be either like 25 or 5. Yeah. So like, and we talked about this with other teams, but he could easily win the league doing that, or he could have some stinker weeks. But his team still looks pretty solid to me at 0-3.
Yeah, it's unreal.
Score a lot of points. Yeah,
unreal. I'd be interested to see if he ever pulls trigger with Trevor Lawrence over Justin Herbert. Because Trevor Lawrence is having a hell of a season. So,
if you do Koenig, I'll take Herbert.
I will take him as well.
Flag with the least points for in the league at a solid 2-1, which is unbelievable.
Flag also had a sick burn of us in the group chat, so respect to him.
Sick burn.
The biggest thing I got out of that was that Flag, thanks for listening to the pod. Appreciate the listen. Please like and subscribe.
He's hurting. He's hurting in these podcasts when we talk about his team. Listen, you're still beautiful on the inside, and that's all that matters. However, fantasy football team, absolute garbage. Moving on, we got Jesus Was Trance, which I believe he had to try multiple times to get this name correct, if you look at the activity, versus Jadenkalij Morgoon. Another L picked up by Daniel Ivanhoe, and I think a lot of that comes down to Mr. Unlimited Russell Wilson.
Yeah, that
is garbage.
Big time.
Yeah, all right. So I've watched almost the entirety of all 3 Broncos games, and they actually looked decent for a couple drives this past game. So I think they are getting there. But yeah, it doesn't feel good, especially with how confident I was about him at the beginning of the season. So not feeling too good with my team putting up another okay score. But I mean, I know I have I have a better team than where I am ranked. So
I agree, and Dan, I do owe you an apology. We were speaking earlier today, and someone had mentioned that they take Rosen's team over yours, and I wrote them both on paper, and I did not agree with my earlier statement. Your team is better.
Glad to hear it.
I think Jamar Chase will bounce back. I think the Bengals will get in a groove here, and Cordell Patterson again is the darling child of the flex spot as always. So it's good to see him continue to do well.
Yeah, and I mean, go ahead, hit him with it.
If you want to trade, Nick,
I mean, I got wide receivers.
I hear you have Garrett Wilson.
Garrett Wilson's number 1, baby.
And now, all credit to Sam. Winning 3 games in a row is never easy in fantasy football. However, his team is horrible. His team is not good. James Conner, not good. Michael Carter, not good. Justin Jefferson, held back by Kirk Cousins. Christian Kirk, good. Yeah?
Yeah.
Christian Kirk having a good season. Goddard doesn't get involved. Higgins, not having the year he had last year.
He is number 1 in Cincinnati right now. But
he had a sick almost touchdown, though. I mean,
so
Yeah.
I don't know how he's 3-0. It baffles me. He's got the second least points for, if I'm not mistaken. Flag being the least, Sam the second least, but he is 3-0. And
He's got
that's
the
tough
least
to
amount
do.
of points against too. So
He-
explains everything we need to know.
He will. I will say though, if you look at it a little bit deeper, there's a decent bit of potential here. I mean, James Conner is not looking amazing right now, but you've
Cardinals
got Justin
aren't.
Jefferson who should start getting it together. But he's got Akers who looked like he was really getting involved last week. I mean, he was a fumble at the goal line away from having 18 points this week instead of 10. Devin Singletary's given you 19.6 and looks like he's involved in that offense. So, I mean, a couple of the right moves this week as compared to, I mean, if he starts Akers and Devin Singletary, he puts up an additional, 25 points almost, or I can't do math, but additional 20 points, something like that. But
It
I
just
think he's
seems
got
that
potential.
Justin Jefferson has gone up against two really good corners the last 2 weeks, and they completely shut him down. Like, absolutely, completely shut him down. One being Darius Slay, the other one being Jeff Okuda. So it seems like he's not matchup proof like we thought he was. So we'll see. His team just doesn't scare me. While I think Dan does have a more complete team, yet one's 3-0 and the other one's 0-3. So that's fantasy for you.
Yeah,
exactly. I mean, like I would rather be in his position being at 3-0, obviously, and I think his team is better than we're probably giving credit it. I think that the Cardinals are at their floor. James Conner is not being used how he was last year. So Sam's team could be better, to your guys' points. But if Sam is having these bad weeks and he's starting out 3-0, then his points hypothetically should be only up from here, which is a little bit intimidating because he's 3-0 atop the leaderboard. So
yeah, he's looking pretty for one of those playoff spots right now.
Yeah.
All right, now our matchup of the week. We had Hertz Chubb, James Contest against Taylor Gang, Thomas Gordon, previously known as TaylorMade. Period.
Yeah, I like the new name, Tim. I like this better.
Taylor Gang's a lot better. He did the thing. The Holy Trinity did just enough for him to secure the W. James still had a solid week, but just did not score enough. This was the only other team that scored 100 this week. So, yeah, not much to say about it. I mean, we kind of talked a little bit about James's wide receiver depth. I think he started Nyheim Hines last week or something, or Tyler Boyd rather. He started last week over Gabe Davis. Which actually looking at it would have given him the win had he flipped it or had he kept Tyler Boyd in. But Tommy's Holy Trinity, Josh Allen, John Taylor, and Mark Andrews did just enough to get him the win, and that's going to be him every single week.
Yeah. Sorry, Jeff.
I will say with James's team, I still think James is the best team in the league right now. I have him top of my rankings. But I will say James got a little bit exposed this week because you can see that there's a little bit of boom or bust there. Joe Mixon doesn't look to be as involved as he was last year. I mean, Nick Chubb is an absolute stud. He's number one right now in 0.5 PPR for fantasy football, which is crazy when the guy is not getting receptions. So that looks like an amazing pick right there. But there looks to be a little bit of kink in the armor there for James if things don't go the way that they have been the first 2 weeks. I still think he's got the best team in the league, but it's a little bit nerve-wracking for him.
That's a good point, Josh, that he's ranked number 1.5 point PPR. I think it's representative of just the lack of involvement running backs overall have had in the passing game this season, which is why we're seeing way lower running back numbers than we did last year and years past in general. So hopefully this isn't a trend of where the league is going, because I think that would make fantasy a lot harder. But that's really interesting to point out.
Well,
Something
just
else
quickly,
too is.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, I was just going to say quickly, I think these teams benefit from having probably the number 1 and 2 quarterbacks outside of Lamar in fantasy. Josh Allen had a drag-him-out game and still scored almost 30 points. Jalen Hurts can't seem to stop scoring. So these teams, no matter how the rest of the teams do, they're always going to bank on their quarterbacks most likely scoring over 25 points. So that's huge to have.
Yeah. Two things that I want to mention really quick. As far as the Eagles go, if you look at the Eagles' schedule for the rest of the season, it is a cakewalk.
Mm-hmm.
They got Jacksonville, who we don't know. I don't know what they are, just to be honest. Arizona, terrible defense. Dallas, terrible defense. Pittsburgh, depends if J.J. Watt is back.
TJ.
Dallas doesn't have a terrible defense.
Huh?
Dallas does not have a terrible defense.
Dallas allowed the most passing yards in the league last year.
And
They got the most sacks in the NFL right now.
Yeah,
That's true. That's true. I don't think their defense is very good. They did sack Daniel Jones how many times? 7 times?
That
Last
game,
night?
though, just seems Eagles versus Dallas at home just seems like an Eagles route. Just shaping up to be one of those rivalry games that separate the teams quite a bit.
I do think the Eagles have a very, very easy schedule moving forward.
I'd agree with that.
I mean, Green Bay is really their toughest opponent for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
And Green Bay just has scored, I think, 3 points, then 21 points, then 14 points. So
Yeah, I think they're clear NFC favorites right now. So
it's Jalen Hurts could have a great season. Now, the other thing I wanted to point out is Thomas's team is about to look a lot spookier, because he now gets to start Jamal Williams every single week for at least the next 2 to 3 weeks. 23 from him this week. If Nick's prediction comes true, then we're looking at the future running back 1 for Detroit. So overall, an interesting week. I think we did pretty average as far as our picks go for this week. I don't think there was too many changes, Dan, if you want to pull those up. I think I'm still in the lead because obviously I'm just the GOAT. But it is what it is. I think Josh and Dan are still last. Or who's in last?
I think we all went 3-3 last week, so I think I hold on to the 2 spot.
Yeah, so just gonna read it out for the listeners. So yeah, Leo's still in first at 10-8. Josh is in second at even 9-9, and Nick and I are Pooh at 7-11, and yes, last week we all went 3-3.
Koenig really fucked us.
Yeah,
good job, Aaron. That's credit to Aaron right there. Good job, Aaron.
Thanks for listening, Flag. Appreciate you.
Koenig really, really fucked us.
plenty of time.
Dan, you've got your stuff wrong here. If I'm going to be an honest guy, I took Trevor to beat me last week.
Ooh.
No, you didn't.
So if I'm just going to be an honest guy here, I can't take credit where it's not due.
Appreciate
Wow. So he drops down to 8-10, which
Yeah.
means I come away. I'm running away with it, fellas.
you. Which means Leo come away.
Leo, come away.
I'm just gonna throw streaming Leo's picks at this point to catch up.
Well, let's go ahead.
Let's see.
That's not how catching up works at all.
Nick's going first from now on.
Yeah, Nick, you make your pick first.
Nick, if you just do Leo's picks, you'll never catch him. So,
And I think it's
It's a good point.
Eagles on file. I
teams
don't even know. Boom. God.
I think teams are starting to solidify themselves. Just don't pay attention to that logic too much. Teams are starting to solidify themselves, so we know who people are. I think this is a big week for everyone since there's 7 teams at 2-1. So with that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at the power rankings. Lot of movement this week. A lot of movement this week.
Second, expand.
Which I think we all had a consensus number one still.
Yep.
That being Jimbo Fisher. And then not a consensus last place, which I thought it would have been obvious who it would have been.
Yeah.
But a lot of big moves. I think Ryan dropped significantly after his stinker.
Tom was a huge riser. Tom and Drake, big risers.
So, reading off for the listeners, we got Jim at 1, Drake at 2, Tom at 3, Josh Caliendo at 4, Sam at 5, Leo 6, Trevor 7, Koenig 8, Nick 9, Rosen and Aaron tied in 10, and holding up the caboose, me at 12, which is bullshit.
Which is baloney. But we lose our little Jewish totem pole down at the bottom, unfortunately, with Nick going and taking that spot away. Sam, the only 3-0 team, Sam is ranked 5th, which is interesting.
Yeah.
And Aaron, who is 2-1, is ranked 10-11, essentially.
I was really surprised to see Koenig drop 6 spots.
I agree. I think I had Koenig in my top 5 still.
I don't think I did too, but I know all the rankings that you guys sent me. So
I will say I had to rise Sam a lot, and I had to drop Koenig a lot because ultimately, end of the day, it's who's got the best chance to make the playoffs. Because when we get into that last week of the season, it's not going to matter what the 4 of us think. The potential of Koenig is if he's sitting at the 9 spot with no chance to make the playoffs. So that's kind of where I'm getting. I'm starting to round out my stuff based off of where you're at right now in playoff contention.
And that's fair. I definitely won't stop talking shit about Sam's team even if he makes the playoff. So
yeah,
that's me.
I'm just confused. I know some of you guys had Aaron dead last, which doesn't make any sense to me. He's 2-1. Dan, he only has 20 less points scored than you. It's not this clear cut, and he's squeaked away with 2 wins. So at some point, you have to look into that. He should be ranked higher than 2 0-3 teams for sure. So,
yeah, I think that's what's fun about these power rankings is we each get to kind of pick and choose what we value as more important.
Rankings that I gave shit last year for never putting the Cardinals as the number 1 team. I'm understanding why they weren't doing that now when I get to actually do power rankings.
Right. With that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at the Week 4 matchups.
Matchup preview.
God, that is beautiful. I can't believe you got James Earl Jones to do that little jig for us there.
Yeah, it was totally Jim Earl Jones.
Shout out Darth Vader.
Signed off his rights to Darth Vader, and we instantly signed him. So,
Shout out Arby's. Yeah. Shout out Arby's commercial.
Is that him?
Sounds like him.
Sounds like him. If it's not Arby's, what are you doing? Anyways,
if it's not Arby's, hit me up. I can do that too, I guess.
Get Dan. Dan loves the meats. So just go ahead and pick him up for that. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at these Week 4. First of all, really quick, just wanted to show you guys what the actual standings are in the league. You can kind of see them right here. Judd Dinklage at the bottom with an alleged 16% chance to make the playoffs. Whilst Jesus Was Trans, who's 3-0, has actually a lower chance to make the playoffs than the next 2 teams that are 2-1.
That's funny.
Like I said, big week because a lot of teams are 2-1. So I think some teams could pull away here. Some teams might fall back down to the bottom. So.
It's a good catch, Leo. Respect to ESPN because clearly they are also weighing points for in there. So respect ESPN. I thought I was just straight up you're at the top, so you're this percentage.
So I think what ESPN does, if I'm being, I might be incorrect on it, but they look at points for. They also look at your matchups remaining on the year. So my guess would be is that Sam has got a little bit more of a difficult way to go because I can't remember exactly who Sam's first three opponents were, but I don't know if he's played, Drake or James yet. So
Yeah, that and he has the second least points for it.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Here you can see the points for and points against. Very easy going for Jesus Was Trans. So let's go ahead and take a look at those week 4 matchups. I'll start off with, what are you laughing at, you goon?
You're like, oh, we should probably move on. No.
Well, shit, man.
Proud of you.
Here we go. All right. So we got Taylor Gang, formerly known as TaylorMade,
period.
versus myself, Omega Sharkus.
Good matchup.
Fourth week in a row where I am projected very little points. I don't know what it is. My team's just not good enough, I guess. Obviously, when you're going against Jonathan Taylor, Josh Allen, and Mark Andrews, that's 3 L's right off to hizzy. But I think it'll be a good game. I have some okay matchups this week. I feel better this week than I did last week, to be completely honest with you. But Tim's team is just always going to be scary to go up against, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think
It's
you
a
have good
juggernaut,
matchups as
man.
well. I'll lead it off if you'd like, just to get it underway. I'm picking Leo this week. Again, I think you have great matchups. I think Aaron Rodgers, again, I think he's starting to find his groove, and I think New England struggles against them. So Derrick Henry's playing well. So I think Leo pulls it away this week.
I can go second. I've actually got Thomas in this matchup. I think there's some things there that are going to work in his favor. Baltimore gave up a huge game to Tua, and we know that Josh Allen is a little bit more talented than Tua. Jamal Williams against Seattle might be, a big one there. So we'll see. I think it'll be a good week. The cool part about this is their number one running backs get to go head to head this week, which I always love because it's a little bit more gamesmanship with that.
Oh, I see that.
Yeah, it's always fun to watch when one of them always has the ball, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go with Tom. I agree with the projections for once, and I think that he's gonna have a big week. And Tom has a good team. I think Leo has a good team, but not as good as Tom's. So
He projected 120, man.
Yeah.
that's crazy.
He earned it with those first 3 picks. That's kind of what you want. I honestly am kind of leaning towards picking Tom in this one. I do have Tony Pollard in, which is not set in stone. I do have J.K. Dobbins, Michael Thomas, and Rashad Bateman that I could slot in there. So we'll see. I'm going to pick myself, though, obviously. I can't not.
Respect it.
But we'll see. Obviously. And you were unsuccessful. Let's go ahead and move on to the next matchup here. This should be a good one. Hurts Chubb, which is Jim Contes, versus Scott Rusher, who is most likely going to have a name change by the time the week is over.
It'll be a name change by the time the week officially starts.
Even better. So this will be a great matchup. The 2 against the 4 in the ESPN standings, and I think it's 1 against the 3 in the power rankings. So, hell of a matchup here. We'll see what Tua does. He's still ranked the 5th ranked quarterback. Just going down Josh's team, you got the 5th quarterback, the 2nd running back, the 3rd receiver, the 4th receiver. So it's just a lot of good players on there, but a lot of boom players on this side. So we'll see how it goes. Nick, who are you picking?
Yeah, it's a tough one. I'm picking James solely because I'm worried about Josh's quarterback situation, regardless of either one he starts. Tom Brady, just the Tampa Bay offense just looks dull. they're playing KC, who doesn't have a great defense, but for some reason seems to keep games close. And then who knows about Tua, whether he's going to play or not. Even if he does, I think going into Cincinnati in a primetime game is a tough ask anyway. So I got James here.
I'm gonna go with Josh. I agree with you there, Nick, but I think Tom Brady. If Tua plays, I think that's gonna be a high scoring game, and if he slots in Tom, should be a high scoring game against Kansas City. So I wouldn't put it as a reason to detract, and I think he's got just as much boom players. His core running backs and receivers have all had 25 plus point games at least once each. So talk about boom players there. See, it is going to be a great matchup, but Caliendo's not let me down yet, so I'm going to go Caliendo.
Josh, are you planning on keeping Damian Pearson?
I haven't decided yet. I mean, I've got the depth right now. I don't really trust DJ Moore all that much, and Damian Harris with what's his name, or with Mac Jones being out and then looking to have turned to Ramondre Stevenson a little bit more last week. Not 100% sure what I'm going to be doing there. I will give a little bit of insider baseball into it all. I was telling Nick earlier today, with Tua and Tom Brady, I'm waiting to see kind of what happens with that Tampa Bay game. Because of the hurricane, they might be moving that game to a different location. If that ends up getting moved, I'm leaning a little bit more Brady just because I think Tua is banged up. But we'll see.
I like it.
I thought you were going to say you're starting Aaron Judge. Put insider baseball on us.
I was going to say, this is football. And then Amon-Ra's good to go, right?
Yep. We normally go on Wednesdays for these, but we're doing this on a Tuesday, so there isn't any huge news yet on him.
Gotcha. Well, Jimmy let me down. Jimmy let me down last week, so I'm picking Josh.
Josh, did you pick?
You know who he's picking.
We all know what I'm doing.
You're such a weak man.
Pick James. Call him
James.
Call him the N-word.
Oh my god.
Nuclear.
Hey, my dream scenario is that at the end of the week my picks all go 5-1, and that the only loss I take is myself, or the person that I picked to beat.
You're gonna beat yourself?
Shut up.
Beat myself next week. Let's move on.
Shut up. Just shut up. All right. We got another good matchup. Mike's Hard Bongwater against King Drizzle. Another matchup of 2-1 teams. So it's been 2-1 versus 2-1, 2-1 versus 2-1, and another 2-1 versus 2-1. So, like we talked about earlier, Trevor's team is on the opposite of up and up, which that would be down and down. So quick trivia for you guys there. I think there's a clear winner here. I think Kyler is not it this year. He's still ranked 7th in fantasy. And obviously you can't bench the guy. You're going to ride with him every single week. But I feel like last year he was scoring like 30 points a game on some weeks. And this week it sounds like he's barely getting there. So Lenny Fournette is not the guy either. And then well as Kareem Hunt and Kyle Pitts, we don't know what we're getting there. So I'm going to go with Drizzle for this one. Just because I like his team a lot.
Yeah, I'm going Drake as well. For the same kind of reasons. I think Trevor's team is good, but I think it sounds weird and it may not make sense to some people, but I think some of his players play on not very good offenses. And so when they get matched up against some of these teams and they just score little points, and that turns into scoring very little fantasy points. Michael Pittman, for example, Kyle Pitts, for example, Brandon Cooks. Those are guys that are on teams that score less than 14 points in some if not most weeks. And it's tough to rack up fantasy points when that happens continuously. You might be able to break away from that occasionally, but I'm I know it's fun for me to joke on Trevor, but I think his team is in trouble moving forward. It's just my honest opinion.
Yeah, and I think Drake's team could look a lot different come Sunday because, I mean, looking at it, he has Edward Solera on the bench, Curtis Samuel on the bench.
It's probably put Smith in.
Maybe. I mean, he's got Debo and Deontay already in there, as well as
I would take Drake London out
who's having a great year.
for Devontae if I was Drake, but that's a flip coin, to be honest with you. So
yeah, Drake London's been fantastic this year. I'm going Drake. Nick's going Drake. Dan and Josh.
Oh yeah, I thought you guys. Are you done yet? Or, okay,
I'm done.
I am also gonna go Drake. Agreed that Trevor's team is on the down, but noted that Kyler at rank number 7. I wish I had a quarterback at rank number 7. So respect to him.
All right,
I am gonna go Drake though.
I'm actually going to take Trevor. I think his team is going to show out a little bit this week. I know he's not in a great spot with DeAndre Swift probably not playing, but I think he's going to have a good week. I'm going to trust him a little bit more than I probably should, but I've got Trevor.
Like it. That probably means Trevor's going to win because typically it's whoever is the one we pick the least is usually the one who wins. So good matchup to keep an eye on. All 3 of those first matchups are going to be very good. And I'm thinking the last 3 are not going to be as good, but we'll see. Next up, we got Detective AG, Alan Gamble versus minus the Brandon McMahon. It's looking like a beatdown right now.
Good.
Off of the projections, but you just do not own running backs, which really is an issue when it comes to fantasy football.
Yeah, Chase Edmonds actually performed well. I think that's not going to happen very much often because I think it was just the setting of the game allowed him to score twice. But other than that, I'm happy with my team. I think they have potential to score a lot. Again, who knows with Austin Eckler? If he's going to score at any point, it's going to be this week. I'm probably going to stream a tight end, so I don't think Dalton Schultz is going to be back. And spoilers, I have a waiver claim for a tight end, so we'll see what
drop
happens
another
there.
10 on him? You're going to keep dropping $10 on a tight end every week and then using them every 1 week?
I just might. But yeah, I think I'm going to choose myself. I'll start it off. I think I have a good shot at winning here and start coming back, creeping my way back into the top of the leaderboards.
All right. Who else?
I'm gonna go Nick. You gotta just love that wide receiver depth.
Dude, so good.
If only you
That's
could
it.
start a wide receiver running back, eh?
I hate to do it. It goes against every fiber of my being, but I am actually taking Nick to get the W this week. I hate doing that as much as anybody who knows me knows, but I've got Nick to get the W.
Just made my day.
I'm picking Flag. Listen here, Flag. Talking to you on this one, all right? This is your week. We all know Najee Harris sucks. We all know Joe Burrow is probably going to get sacked 8 times. But this is your week. And that burn in the group chat, it hurt. Let me tell you, it hurt. And that's why I'm picking you this week. So get it done for us, all right? Talking about... Wait, was that everyone? Did everyone make their pick?
Yeah.
All right. Talking about the next matchup, which is going to be a riveting one. We got Josh Rosen going against, so it's an 0-3 versus a 3-0 team.
Yeah, Sam's looking really good for a 85-81 win to become 4-0. So
Listen, he's got the number 1 kicker, which really tells you all you need to know. I just don't know how he's 3-0, man. It hurts me deep inside. knowing that his team is so bad, yet he's won 3
He
games.
can't feel good about it, can he? Yeah, he's Sam. He's going to feel great about it.
Oh, are you kidding
Yeah.
me, dude? If that was me, you guys would not hear the fucking end of it, man.
Yeah, we know.
Fully
I
aware
know
of
you
that.
know. I
I'll
know
start
you
it off.
know.
I'm going Rosen. I'm gonna from this point on. I'm pretty much gonna pick Rosen until he wins, unless it's just blatantly lopsided. I hope he puts back in Terry McLaurin. I'm assuming he will. Takes out Jeff Wilson for Christ's sake. But other than that, that's my pick.
Well, hold
I
on real
love-
quick, Nick. You do know that Dalvin Cook is iffy, correct? He dislocated his shoulder.
Just found that out now, but
Okay.
staying with my pick.
And Jeff Wilson looks freaking
Jeff
great.
Wilson
You
has-
watch the game?
Has been,
And-
has been
Jeff
And
Wilson
David
is-
Montgomery, David Montgomery literally left the game on the first drive. So
God, I
Jeff
love the
Wilson
off
is
the
a
cuff.
fraud. He
Nick.
should
That
start
was a-
with
that
Herbert,
was a-
first of all. But
that was a Nick Radford guarantee right there. What you just
if he
heard,
doesn't
ladies
take
and
out Jeff
gentlemen.
Wilson for Clear Herbert, he deserves to lose. I'll just say
You
that now.
can't play David Montgomery and Khalil Herbert, Nick.
Taking both
They're
out.
the same running back.
Well, okay, how about this? If he doesn't take out David Montgomery for Clear Herbert, he deserves to lose.
There we go. I agree.
And take out Jeff Wilson.
100%.
But trade me
No.
Jeff Wilson.
Oh, that's where we're getting. That's what we're getting at. Gotcha.
Daniel, can you mute him? Are you able to mute him indefinitely?
Just say that
I'm
from
not
the
going to
beginning.
do that, but
Say that from the beginning. Just go, this is going to be my diatribe as to why I want Jeff Wilson. And then go, Jeff Wilson sucks. You should trade him to me for pennies on the dollar.
Nick's just negging every team until he gives them a shitty player.
Oh, that's great. Honestly, no, Jeff Wilson has been fucking doing incredible. He looks really good. He's brittle, or he's known to be brittle, so I was kind of expecting him to already be hurt this year. But I'm going to pick Sam because sometimes what you need to win in fantasy is a little bit of dark magic, and it sounds like and it looks like he's got that this year. So we'll see if the name change has any effect on his performance, but I am going to have to go with Sam here. Josh will have to prove to me that he could win a game before I pick him.
I'm in the exact same boat as Leo. I hate that there's just some luck that is on Sam's side right now about getting all these W's, but he's getting the W's, and until that stops, I'm just going to keep picking Sam no matter what projections look like, no matter who he's playing against, because they're only going to score 15 points against him. So I've got Sam.
Yeah, I'm really uncertain on this one. I have been flip-flopping in my head this whole time, and I really don't like it, but I'm going to go with Rosen. Really not
Hell
much
yeah, brother.
reasoning. They're both pretty shitty teams, but sure, Rosen, you let me down last week. And I think last time I picked you, so let's see it now, you freaking...
You boner. All right. And now for the matchup we have all been waiting for.
Ooh, it's a good one.
It's a matchup of the week. I'm not as good as James Earl Jones, unfortunately, but we got God Didn't Save the Queen, 0-3 Ryan Koenig versus Jadinklage Morgoon, 0-3 Daniel Ivan.
It's Jadanklage for like the fourth straight week.
Maybe you
And-
should change it, man. Maybe you
Maybe
should
he
just
should
nix it.
read. It's screw this is Jadan.
Maybe you should win a game of fantasy football, huh, bud?
Well, I know Leo's picking.
Hell of a matchup here. I mean, really a slobber knocker.
What?
I think Koenig is running into the same issue that Nick is running into, which he does not own running backs, which can really, really hurt you when it comes to fantasy football. However, his wide receivers are unbelievable. He's got a great quarterback who is missing a rib. And Dan's team is just so solid on paper, but he just continues to lose games.
Yeah, it's very similar to my personality and looks. Like,
Yeah.
you think it'd be okay, but
You
like,
think?
nah, it's just terrible.
Just absolute pile of garbage in there. But I don't know who to pick. Somebody else fucking go.
I'll start. I'm gonna pick Dan.
Wow.
No, God, this is tough. Yeah, I'm going Dan. I'll go with my gut.
Listen, should we do it in
going-
solidarity? Should we all just pick Dan just to fucking will it into existence?
No.
Hear me out. I am also picking Dan. And
Oh,
I'm
let's
picking
go.
Dan for the exact opposite reason that I am picking Sam. Because there seems to be some kind of voodoo magic against Ryan on being able to get a win. Even when it looks like Ryan should have a clear win, there is something that is preventing that from happening. It's going to work out in Dan's favor. I've got Dan Ivanhoe.
Let's go. I am riding with that. Jadonkalij Morgoon with the W, and I don't think it's even close. I think he doubles him up. He gets to pick Koenig's new name, and that name is going to be something that I will not be able to pronounce next week. So,
Yeah, it's Jadan. Like my name is Dan. Like it's Jadan. It's not Don. It's not Din. It's Dan.
yeah,
And-
whatever, Jakavich.
I'm extremely surprised that all three of you picked me because this was the first pick that I decided to pick Koenig and not pick myself. So maybe this
Maybe
is the
that's
week
it.
that. Yeah, this
Could work
is this
for
is
you.
the real reasoning. But I think Koenig's team is just. We all had him ranked like number 2 overall last week at 0-2. I think he is a great team. Running backs are light, but other than that, I think he's a great team. I'm gonna go Koenig. I suck.
Wow. The
Confidence.
switcheroo coming from Jaboinklage Morgoon. Unbelievable. So we'll check back next week, see how we did. Obviously, probably it's not going to end up being any good news as it has been the last couple of weeks. But let's go ahead and move on to the last segment of the podcast, our favorite segment, and that is the come on, lock up, baby. Lock up, baby. I got him locked. Bingo.
Locks of the week.
Lock of the week, baby.
Tough week last week
let's-
for all of us.
Let's take a look at how we're doing so far.
Yeah. So
Go ahead.
reading through it real quick. Myself, Leo, and Nick all lost our bets. I had the Packers at Bucks get him the over, which it didn't. Leo had the Chiefs covering the spread versus the Colts, which they didn't. Nick had the over Bills and Dolphins and
Sucker
over
bet.
53.5, which it didn't. And Josh Caliendo is the sole winner with the Lions plus 5.5 versus the Vikings.
Lions covering, which they have been doing dating all the way back to about last year. The beginning of
cover.
last year.
Cover games.
They cover a lot.
Yeah,
So-
I'm done with sucker bets. The over 53.5 in the Bills Dolphins was a sucker bet. I should have known.
Yeah,
You're-
Vegas made a lot of money on that bet.
You're the biggest sucker for sucker bets, Nick. So updating our totals, myself, Leo, Josh, and Nick, all 4 of us are 1 and 2. We all
Plenty of
suck.
time. Plenty of time.
We're
I
a
am-
unit.
I am the weighted leader with a cash of minus $1. All of them
God
are
damn it.
about minus $4.5. So
Listen,
we're doing great.
we might be onto something though, where I might actually parlay the opposite of all of our
I
picks this
think of the
week,
same
just
thing.
to see like if we're onto something, which we might be. But let's go ahead
thinking
and
the
get
same
into
thing.
it this week. Who's confident? Who wants to give out their lock first?
I gotta keep starting these. I'm on a hot streak. One right bet for me is a hot streak. I'm absolutely gonna disappoint this week, though. I will tell you that right now. I have Cardinals money line against Panthers this week, which Cardinals are horrific against Blue Cat teams and is always a guaranteed loss. So do the exact opposite of what I am doing. I believe I got that at plus 108 or plus 106, something like that. But I've got the Cardinals money line against the Panthers.
I
Do
don't
the
love
opposite
it.
though. Do
Yeah,
the opposite.
I mean, the thing is, I don't love that bet, which means it's going to hit. You know what I mean? So it's like, it is what it is. I'll go next. I have the Thursday night game, so we'll know nice and early how much I suck at this. But I'm not sure if it's the Tua news or whatever it may be. I mean, I don't think this is a pick'em where it to be at a neutral location, but the Bengals are currently 3.5-point favorites at home against the Dolphins. I don't see how that's the case. I mean, the Bengals lost 2 very winnable games in the first 2 weeks of the season, and they let the Jets hang around last week. I mean, they did. The score made it look a lot more lopsided than it really was. So give me Dolphins money line, not even the cover. Dolphins money line. I got it at plus 172. So go ahead and hammer Bengals to cover, because that's what's gonna happen.
I like it. I'll go next, Dan. Kind of a interesting pick because both these teams have been somewhat disappointing. My pick is Tennessee Titans money line at plus 142. I know the Colts just beat the Chiefs, but I have yet to believe in the Colts, and I think the Titans will figure it out. Mike Vrabel's too good of a coach to not figure it out. I think this is a super close game, but a game I think the Titans end up ultimately winning. And I was surprised it's plus 3.5 spread. Stupid betting methodology that I have. If it's that close in spread, I'm just going to bet the money line. So money line Titans plus 142.
Oh man, we got too many underdog picks this week already.
I honestly do that all the time too, Nick, where I'm like, well, might as well just take the money line. But usually I don't lose it because of that anyway. So I am going to ride what Leo said earlier of Lions covering the spread. They're favorited, though, 4.5 points at home versus the Seahawks at minus 108. I think the Seahawks are at best a mid-tier team, and I think the Lions have shown they actually can compete this year. So I can see them winning by just like I said a couple weeks ago, I'm probably going to take some alt spreads at much more points because I believe in the Lions. So lock it in, baby.
They did real good at home against the Redskins. Fuck.
You did it. You did.
Put him in jail.
We're canceling the podcast. We apologize to the entire Native American community.
Wow.
Leo Santos, his address is 473 West China Avenue. I don't know.
Small PP
1726
Street.
North Temple Street.
I did, Josh. Don't worry. I already marked your bet as a loss. The Cardinals are never going to win a game.
100%. And
here's the great news. I did just parlay the opposite of everything we did.
I did as well.
And the total payout, if you put $4.72 on it, is $38.03. That's your total payout. So it's going to be probably hard to see here.
we believe you, man.
That's exciting. It's going to be great when one of us gets it and then 3 don't, and Josh also loses his parlay.
Any quick logs? Anybody got anything fun? I have a good one. I have a fun one. You guys know all of my longs are going to be related to the Arizona Cardinals. This week, since we're doing the podcast, a little insight, a little behind the curtain. We're doing our podcast a day earlier than we normally would be. So the prop bets aren't out yet on a lot of the sports books. So you're really we aren't able to get too funky with it. However, will there be overtime in the Arizona Cardinals Carolina Panthers game? I think yes. Plus 1,340. I think Baker and Kyler are going to duke it out. It's going to be a back and forth game. I think Matt Prater puts in a field goal to take it to overtime. And who gives a fuck what happens after that? Because you just won like $100. So will there be overtime in the Cardinals-Panthers game? Yes. Long it in right now.
Love it. Texans long. It's my gut reaction to seeing the bets. Chargers are playing the Chargers in Houston. I think the Texans could squeak out a win there. So, bet responsibly.
Yeah, I think we actually have to legally say this is not gambling advice.
We might have to start adding in the helpline at the end of the podcast now for gambling addiction.
This is just what we are betting on. That's all we're saying.
Yeah. This is not gambling advice.
Yeah, Josh, you have a rat behind you again, by the way.
All right, well, thank you guys for listening. Fuck your time. We're going to keep it at an hour every fucking week. We don't care anymore. Other than that, thank you for listening if you made it this far, and if you didn't...